at the Shy-Hat channel. So let me just grab that link for everybody. Okay, so user AD, I see your message, and I might I'm going to be talking to the organizers about whether or not we can change the timing of the sessions. Maybe we'll talk a little bit more about that at the end of the session, okay? When once we have everybody here. So let's see. Let me grab the live stream link. It's over here. So if anybody wants to catch the live stream on YouTube, you can do so over at the following link that I have provided in chat. Okay, so with all that out of the way, let's get into today's session. So this is HackerFrogs After School Python Programming Basics Part 6. It's actually Part 7 because we decided to do a little review on one of the previous sessions, but during our last workshop, we learned about a few programming concepts through Python, including the following. So we talked about functions. So functions are defined blocks of code that can be executed multiple times in the same program. So here we have a function that does print hello and good day. And when we run the function called the function call, what's going to be printed out is exactly the instructions inside of the function over here. So executing a function is usually just referred to as calling a function or a function call. This workshop's topics, we're going to go over the following concepts in Python. They're going to be classes and objects. And we're also going to talk about Python dictionaries. So first thing we're going to talk about is classes and objects. Oh, it says part 3 over here. Please ignore that. So objects and classes. So Python is an object-oriented programming language. That means that all pieces of data in Python code are considered objects. So in this case, we've got our 3 variables over here, and they represent different objects in different classes. So this my integer over here is equal to 1, and that's an example of the integer class. And this is an object inside the integer class. The myFloat variable is equal to 0.25, and that's an example of an object in the float class. And the myString variable is equal to HackerFrogs, and it's an example of an object in the string class. So in addition, all objects in Python are separated into different classes. We see that there are 3 variables here in the integer, float, and string classes, respectively. So an object's class indicates which built-in functions, methods, and variables it has. So we see here that there is a variable called myString, and it's equal to this string right here, the HackerFrogs. We can use a function with strings called len, which returns the length of the string in characters. And we can also use the upper method with this string in order to have this string output in all uppercase letters. Okay, so let's try this out over at the online Python over here. So I will provide the link to everybody for the online Python. It is over here. And just remember that that when you first load up the online Python editor over here, it's going to have some code already in it. So what you need to do is you need to delete that code. Okay, so the code is now deleted, and we can start writing our code in here. Okay, so let's make we're going to call this variable name, and we're going to set it to the HackerFrogs. Okay, so the first thing we can do inside of this is we can print something. We're going to print using the length of the name variable. So the name variable is the HackerFrogs, and what we're getting is the length of the string. which is how many characters it has. So when we run this code, it should come back as 15. I think that's the number of letters, the number of characters in here. Remember that the space also counts as a character when we're counting this. So we run this code and we come back with 15. Okay, so what we're trying to illustrate is that there are specific methods and functions that you can run with some types of objects and not with other types of objects. For example, we've got our number. We're going to make a variable called number, and we're going to call it 1337. If we try to do length with 1337, this number variable, I don't know if length is, if we can actually run this with the number instead of using it with the string, but let's find out. Okay, so we're going to run, and then it returns with an error over here. So object of the type integer has no length function. So this function doesn't work because we're using on the wrong type of object. Okay, so let's go back to the example. So here we've executed a function and a method on the myString variable. Both the len function and the upper method are unique to the string class. So because this is a string, we can run these methods and these functions because they're specific to strings. So if we change the myString variable to an integer, executing either the len function or the upper method would result in an error message. So next we're going to, this was kind of short, but what I want to point out here is that the objects inside of, so everything in Python is an object. And depending on the class that the object belongs to, it has different methods and variables and functions that it can run. So there's a whole section on how to create classes inside of Python, but right now you don't really need to worry about that too much. So we're going to move on to the second topic of today's lesson, which is a bit more relevant to actually coding inside of Python, and that's dictionaries. So dictionaries in Python are similar to other container objects, such as lists, except that the data stored in dictionaries are pairs of key values as opposed to individual items. So here we've got our country capitals dictionary, and you know that something's a dictionary if it has these squiggly brackets, if it's a bunch of objects inside of these squiggly brackets over here. So let's try making a dictionary ourselves. So over on our online Python, so we're going to call this one, let's call this one country capitals, country_capitals, and we're going to make this a dictionary. So a dictionary is a bunch of items inside of these squiggly brackets right here. So we're going to do two items inside of our dictionary. So that's going to be, so let's do, what's a country? Canada. I live in Canada, and the capital of Canada is, oh, I should capitalize that. So Canada, and the capital of Canada is a city called Ottawa. All right. Somebody said that it's Quebec. It's not Quebec. But thank you very much for trying. Okay, so we've got our combination. Okay, Canada, Ottawa, and let's do USA. USA. And can somebody tell me what the capital of the USA is? You can type in chat. It is, okay, so yes, it is Washington, D.C., okay? Okay, so Washington, D.C., so we've got two country capitals, and remember that the, we need to have two values. We need to have a key, so in this case, Canada is the key, and USA is the key, and we have a value. And in this case, Ottawa is a value and Washington, D.C. is a value. Okay, so what we can do is we can print out this entire dictionary over here. So we can just do print and then country underscore capitals. Okay, so let's run this. And then our dictionary is printed out. Okay, so everybody, what I want you to do is I want you to try creating your first dictionary inside of the online Python link right there. And if you manage to print off your list of countries and capitals, okay, please let us know in the chat by typing out what country am I in? Okay, we've got some people completing the exercise. Thank you. Nice, nice, nice. Okay, so it doesn't necessarily have to be strings. So usually the key portion of the key value in a dictionary is a string, but sometimes the value doesn't necessarily have to be a string as well. We could do what other kind of dictionary could we? Okay, we could do my, let's see, maybe math and math stuff. Let's do a dictionary called math stuff. Okay, and in this dictionary, we're going to do, let's see, we're going to do two key value pairs. First one is going to be pi number. So it's going to be, where are we? Okay, so pi number. Okay, and does anybody know the first 3 digits of pi? It's 3.14. Even I know that, and I'm very bad at math. Okay, so we can do pi number, and we can set that to a float, and we can do the hacker number. Does anybody know what the hacker number is? Or an example of a hacker number that the hackers like to use? So if you don't if you don't know numbers that hackers like, that's fine. I'll introduce you to right now. So hackers like this number right here. It used to be on the internet that people said that they were elite because this number right here looks kind of like LEET, and it's a meme that kind of stuck, and you'll see it every once in a while if you hang around enough hacker stuff. Okay, so math stuff. We've got our pi number and our hacker number. Let's try printing out the math stuff. Math underscore stuff, and print that out. Okay, we've got our pi number and our hacker number. All right. So if you manage to print that off, sorry about that. If you manage to print that out, please type in the chat, more dictionaries. Okay, nice. All right, so let's talk a little bit more about dictionaries. So dictionaries can be identified by a pair of, oh, we've got somebody in the YouTube chat, and they're also following along with us. Welcome to the chat, user ML. Okay, so dictionaries can be defined as a pair of curly braces, which are pairs of keys/values. Each pair is separated by commas. The key and the value are themselves separated by a colon. So remember, if you don't do the correct syntax when you're writing out your dictionaries, they're not going to work. Okay, dictionaries can also be initialized in the format above, which is easier to read. So we can also write our dictionaries with the following format over here, which makes them easier to read inside of the code. So let's try one with this format. So maybe we're going to make a dictionary called vital underscore stats. And we're going to put a couple of items in here, but we're going to format it in the following way. And I think this is, yeah. We need to have it indented like this. Okay, so vital stats, we're going to call this one age, and then we're going to do, I don't know, the hacker number, and then we need to add a colon for the next item, and the next item is going to be maybe height. So we need to put this one needs to be a string as well, height. And let's see, you all use inches, right? You use inches in the United States. Should we do metric or should we do imperial measurements? And so I guess we would need to do a string because we need to, okay, maybe we can do 6 foot. Oh, this gets tricky because we're doing this inside of a string. Okay, 6 foot and 11 inches. So this gets tricky. We need to put this inside. I think we need to put this all inside of double single quotes. This gets very this gets very tricky. I think in this case, what we can do is we can put a backslash before the single quote over here, and that means that it's not going to count as a pair of quotes. So this is just a little trick. User NC says, is it possible you could just write out 6 foot? Well, we're trying to do, like, we're trying to hack our way through this, so we need to find some solutions. Maybe, okay, so the last thing we need to do is we need to supply some weight. So age, height, weight, I think this is a good number of statistics. And we're going to do, I don't know. Let's say that we're very skinny people and we're 100 pounds. Okay? All right, so let's see if this works. So okay, so I think we should be able to print it out like this, but let's try printing out our vital stats. And oh, somebody needs the link to the online Python. Okay, so I'm going to provide the link to the people in the YouTube chat. So when we try to print out vital stats, I hope this goes through. Anyways, let's run this. Okay, it worked. Okay, so we've got our vital stats, age and height. Oh no, it included the slash. Okay, let me see if it prints out without the slash. I think without the slash, it's not going to print out. Yeah, right. I got a syntax error here, but I'll figure that out. I think I'll figure that out a little later. Let's see. User WW says my Python doesn't like the height. Yeah. I think let's do. Maybe this might work if we wrap it in the double quotes. Okay, let's try running it now. Oh, nope. Let's try putting a slash over here. Okay. Yeah, it's okay. Well, I'll figure out how to fix that later. Okay, let's move on. Okay, so items in a dictionary can be iterated over by using a for loop, but we must use the items method, which renders the dictionary as a list with tuples. as the content which hold the key value pairs. So to user TL in YouTube chat, we were just talking about dictionaries and how to make dictionaries inside of Python. They're a different type of list, and we're going to be talking about how to do some different stuff with the dictionaries in just a bit. But thank you very much for your comment. If you're having a hard time following along, I can help you out at the end of the session. Okay. All right. So we've got our country capitals list again over here, and what we need to do in order to run a for loop on these on the items inside of the dictionary here is that we need to do the following type of method, which is the items method over here, which renders the dictionary as a list with tuples as the content which hold the key value pairs. Okay, so let's try writing a little for loop using the items method over here with our own list, with our own dictionary. So let's not work with vital statistics right now. Let's work with the math stuff over here. So we're going to write a little for loop for I, J in math underscore stuff dot items. So what this is that it's a for loop like we learned before, except that we're using it with the method, with the dictionary method items over here, which is going to change the format of the dictionary. So this is how we're going to be able to print out the key value pairs in a loop. And inside of here, we're going to print I and J, which is the key and the value pairs. So let's try this, and let's delete the print vital statistics instruction over here. Okay, so we've got this instruction over here. It's going to print out all of the items inside of the math stuff dictionary. Okay, so when we run the program, we're going to get this result right here. So this looks so the formatting looks a little bit different than if we were to just print out the dictionary directly. But yeah, this is how we do for loops when we're dealing with dictionaries. Okay. All right, so let's so give this a go and try writing this for loop over here on the math stuff. Remember that we have to use items along with this. So when you run the code, you should see our pi number and our hacker number over here, but with none of the other spaces or the commas or the brackets or anything. So if you're able to do that, please type out in chat, I'm looping. Okay, so we've got, so just quickly, we're talking about classes and objects earlier. User P says, hi user P, nice to see you. Okay, just like we were talking about how strings have specific functions and specific methods, and how integers have specific methods and specific functions. So in this case, dictionaries have specific methods, like this method right here, which is items, which puts all the dictionary items inside of a tuple, which is a type of list. Okay, so how do we add items to our dictionaries? So you can add entries to an existing dictionary. Simply define the dictionary's index with the name of the key, then supply the value of the other side of the equal sign as shown above. Okay, So we've got a new dictionary in this case. We've got friend and city. So that's the name of our friend and the name of the city that they live in. So we can also add. So first of all, let's make this friend city list, okay? So inside of our Python editor, let's delete everything. And let's create our friend underscore city list. Sorry, it's not a list, it's a dictionary. There's a very big difference. Okay, so let's say we have Jane who lives in New York, and then we have John, who you can make up whatever names and city names, friend names and city names you like. It doesn't necessarily have to be these ones. And John lives in, let's say John lives in Tokyo. And one more. Let's do Pierre. And Pierre lives in Paris. All right. So we've created our dictionary. We've got our friends and the cities that they live in. And next we're going to add something. So friend underscore city. And I think let me take a look at the format. Right. So inside of the square brackets, we have to put in the name of the new key value. So the new friend that we're going to add inside of the square brackets, it can be, let's do Susan. And we're going to set Susan's city to, what's a city? How about Sydney? Sydney, Australia. Okay. All right. So last thing we're going to do is we're going to print out the whole list, the whole dictionary rather. And the dictionary is friend underscore city. And we should see 4 friends inside of this list, which includes Susan, who lives in Sydney. Okay. So go ahead and write out this code and try running it. If you get all 4 friends, all 4 names of your friends and the cities that they live in, please type in the chat, I've got friends everywhere. So if you need a refresher on how to format this, so to add the friend, to add the new friend, you have to put it inside of these. So you do the name of the dictionary and then the square brackets. And inside the square brackets, you have to put in the key value of the new item. So yeah, okay. So user WW, we're looking at the code now. So you've got their initial dictionary on the top line. On the second line, you're going to be adding the new entry over here. So you just need to include the name of the dictionary and then the new index. So the index is whatever is inside the square brackets. So that's going to be the new entry and then the value after the equal sign. Okay. All right. So let's move on. So we successfully added somebody to our dictionary. Nice, nice. People have friends everywhere. So the next thing is removing keys and values. To remove entries from the dictionary, there are 2 ways. The first way is to use the del keyword along with the dictionary key as the index name. So we can do del and then the name of the dictionary and then the name of the key, which in this case is Carl. And then when we print the dictionary, then only 1 entry shows up because there were originally 2 entries, but we deleted the Carl entry and we're left with only the Rachel entry in this case. Okay, so let's try this one. So inside of our friend city dictionary, we're going to del friend city, and okay, somebody says that they don't have the link, so I'm going to provide the link to everybody in chat, just in case you need it again. Okay, so we're going to delete friend city, and we're going to use the square brackets, and inside the square brackets we need to indicate the key. So let's say that we don't talk to John anymore. So we're going to delete this person from our dictionary. So delete friend city John. So John is inside of John is the string, and we need to put it inside of these square brackets. And then we need to print friend city again. Okay. So if you have the code just like this, then the first print instruction is going to print out all the friends, but the second print, but after we delete John, when we print out the second time, we're going to see that John is not in the list. Okay, so let's run this. So the first one has all of the friends, but the second list is missing John in Tokyo. Okay, so everybody please try this. And if you manage to successfully do this, please type in chat deleted and a frowny face. Okay, looks like you're getting it. Awesome. All right, so we're going to move on to the next step. So the other way of removing entries from dictionaries is the pop dictionary method, as illustrated above. So dictionaries have a special method. It's called pop. And so you just need to do friend, the name of the dictionary, and then dot, and then pop, and then some parentheses. And we're going to provide the name of the key inside the parentheses here. So let's go back and try this method as well. So over here, we're going to do friend underscore city dot pop, and we're going to provide the name of let's just say Jane in this case. So friend city dot pop, and then inside the parentheses we need to provide the key, which is Jane. And then we're going to print friend underscore city one more time. And then when we print this out, we'll see that the first time the print instruction goes through, there's 4 friends. Then the next time there's 3 friends. And then the next time there's 2 friends. And if you manage to do this successfully, we're going to do, please type in the chat, deleted times 2. Okay. So the next thing we need to understand about dictionary keys is that they're immutable. Immutable means that they cannot be changed after they've been created. Once you've included the name of a key inside of a dictionary, it can't be changed. So friend city. So if we do our friend city list again, Carl's in Toronto and Rachel's in New York. But then we tried to set what is it? We try to set Carl's city to Kelly. Oh, I don't even know. sorry. This looks a bit weird. I don't know why I included that. Okay, so what we're going to do now is we're going to work on our exercises, okay? So inside of our exercises, we're going to do 2 exercises today. And inside the exercises, we're going to be doing a little bit of Python programming. So the first exercise we're going to do today over at PicoCTF is the PW Crack 3 exercise. Okay, so everybody go over to your PicoCTF website and log in. And then I want you to open up your web shell. Okay, so you can just click on the web shell button and then click on this button, which is going to put the web shell in its own web browser tab. And you're going to need to log in. So my name is the Shy Hat. Please use your own username and not mine. And we're going to need to put in our password. I'm going to grab my password from my password manager program. So if you copy your password, you can paste it in. You can just do right click and then select paste and then hit enter. And then you're going to be logged into your PicoCTF web shell. User P asks why. Why? I'm not sure. What you're asking about there. Okay, so everybody, we're going to be doing our exercise inside of PicoCTF. So if you manage to open up your web shell, and we're going to create a directory in here, and it's going to be pw crack 3. So make the directory mkdir space pw crack 3, and then it already exists. I'm going to delete it so I can demonstrate. So it's mkdir pw crack 3. And then enter that directory. And when you're inside the directory pwcrack3, let us know by typing in chat, ready to go. Okay. So user P asks why again. I'm not sure. I'm not sure why you're asking the question why. If you could give me some more information, I could help you out. Okay. So the pwcrack3 challenge is located. Let's grab that link. It's right over here. And I will supply the link. I will supply the challenge link in the chat. Okay, so this is a slightly more difficult challenge than some of the other ones we've done before. So the first thing you need to do is you need to download some files. Okay, the description says, can you crack the password to get the flag? Download the password checker here. You'll need the encrypted flag and the hash in the same directory too. There are 7 potential passwords with 1 being correct. You can find these by examining the password checker script. Okay, so we need to download 3 files. So the first thing you need to do is grab the first file. So the word here, right click it, select copy link address, and then in your web shell, we're going to use wget. So it's wget space, and then right click and select paste, and hit enter, and you're going to download the file. User P says there is a problem. Okay, if you could tell me if you could give me more information about the problem, then I can help you out. Okay. Next, we're going to download the second file. So the second file is this word right here, flag. So just highlight that and then right click, copy link address over at the web shell, wget space, and then paste it in. And the third file is over here. It's the word hash. So just right click that, select copy link address, And in the web shell, you're going to wget that as well. Okay. So after you've downloaded those three files, you should see level3.flag.txt.enc. You're going to see level3.hash.bin, and you're going to see level3.py. If you have all three of these files in your directory here, please type in the chat, got those three. Okay, so it looks like most of you have downloaded the files. So the first thing we need to do is we need to check what happens if you try to run this level3.py file by itself. So we know that this is a Python file because the file extension is .py. So we can just try running this by itself, level3.py. And when we run that, it asks, please enter the correct password for flag, but we don't know it. So we can just give it test, and it says that password is incorrect. Okay, so what's going on inside of this script? We can figure out what code is inside of this script by using a text editor. Does anybody know what text editor we like to use over here? Okay, quick on the draw, user WW. We like to use Nano, that's correct. So inside of our web shell, we can use a text editor called Nano, and we just need to do nano level3.py like this. After you hit enter, we're going to find ourselves in the Nano text editor, and we're going to see a bunch of Python code. So we've been studying Python, so we should be able to understand some of the stuff that's going on inside of this code. It's all right if you don't understand everything that's going on in this code. You don't need to understand everything in order to finish the challenge. So you'll notice that the first thing we're doing inside this script over here is we're going to import hashlib. So import means that we're going to use a different module or library inside of this code, and hashlib is the name of the module that we're importing. That means that we can use functions and methods from the hashlib library inside of this code over here. So to the people who are wondering, hashlib is all about doing encryption stuff. So we're going to be able to do encryption inside of the script. Okay, so down here we've got these lines over here, and these lines say flag underscore enc, which means the encoded flag. This is a variable which is open. So open means that we're going to be reading this file right here. So the script is actually going to set this variable to whatever is inside of this file right here. So this is one of the files we downloaded. And the other variable over here is correct PW hash, so correct password hash. And that's going to be set to the contents of this file right here. You're going to open the level3.hash.bin file in order to set this variable here. So inside of the script, we also have this this hash password function. It's going to take the pwstr, which stands for string. So this is basically it's a function which does an encryption, hashing encryption on the password. So you don't need to understand exactly what's going on. You just need to know that there's a function that's going to hash a password. Okay, user L, hello. I understand you joined late, and we're going to have a little talk at the end of today's session about whether or not everybody is okay with changing up the schedule to accommodate people who who need to arrive a little later. But the last thing we have inside of here is the main function for this particular exercise, and that's called level 3 password check, level 3 PW check. And so first thing it's going to do, it's going to set a variable user underscore PW, and that's going to be your user input. And the user input asks, please enter correct password for flag. So then they're going to hash the password that we provide. So user underscore password hash is whatever we provided in the user password. And then they're going to run the hash password function on it. And then they're going to do a little if statement here. So if the user password, when it's hashed, is equal to the correct password hash, then it's going to print welcome back, your flag user, and it's going to decrypt the flag, and then it's going to print out the flag, and then it's going to finish. Otherwise, if the two things don't match, then it's going to print out that password is incorrect. And the last thing that that's done inside of the script is that it's going to call this function right here, level 3 PW check. Okay, so that's how this script works. And there's actually a list over here at the bottom, which isn't used, but it says inside of this inside of these comments, the strings below are 7 possibilities for the correct password. Only 1 is correct, and then they've got a list called possible password list, and it's set to these 7 strings right here. Okay, so what we're going to do is that we could just try each one of these one by one and see which one is correct, but that's not very fun as far as programming is concerned. So what we're going to try to do is we're going to try to modify the level 3 password check function so that it tries each one of these strings in order, and it's going to brute force attack the password out of the level 3 password check. Okay, so how we're going to do this? So we've provided a little bit of code over at the GitHub. And I'll provide the link to this. So everybody, you can find the link over here. So I want you to go over to this page, and there's this heading here, Code for TW Crack 3 Challenge. What I want you to do is I want you to click on this button right here, and that's going to copy the code. So after you've copied the code, go back over to your web shell, and I want you to delete the level 3 password check. So what we can do over here is we can go over to this line, and then we can use the Control K keyboard shortcut. So if you do Control K inside of Nano, it's going to cut each one of these lines. So if you do that over and over again, you can delete the entire function. And after you've finished deleting the entire function, you can right click and then select paste. And that's going to paste in our new function, okay? So everybody, if you manage to paste in the new function after deleting the old function, please type in chat, I replaced it. And if you're having problems, please let me know that you're having problems. Okay, so the last thing we need to do is we need to move the level 3 password check over to the end of the script, because the list, we use this list inside of this loop over here, And that means that we have to include the list before we do the level 3 password check. So over here, level 3 password check, we need to delete this and we need to add it to the end of the script. So at the end of the script, after the list, we need to do level 3 underscore PW underscore check. Just like this. Okay, so before we run this, we're going to see what it does. So the new level 3 password check, so it does a for loop for the password in possible password list. User password hash equals hash password with the password. So password meaning each one of these items inside of the list. So it's going to try each one of these, and then it's going to do the comparison. If user password hash equals correct password hash, it's going to print welcome back your flag user, and then it's going to decrypt the flag and print out the flag. Otherwise, it's going to print out that password is incorrect. So now that we've modified this script so that it uses the passwords from the list, and we've added level 3 password check to the end, we're going to save the script. So we need to do Control X, save modified buffer yes, and hit enter to confirm. So the last thing we need to do is do Python and then level3.py. When you hit this, when you hit the enter key, it's not going to ask you for the password. It's just going to loop through all the passwords and then give you the password. So hit enter, and it should say, welcome back your flag user, and then give you the flag. Okay. So if you have any trouble or you see like an error when you try to run your script, please let us know what error message you got, and we'll try to help you out. But otherwise, copy the flag over here, and then go over to the challenge description, paste in the flag, and click on Submit Flag. Okay. All right. If you managed to complete the exercise, please type in the chat, I modded the script. And if for some reason you weren't able to complete the challenge, let us know what error message you got when you tried running the script, and we'll try to help you out. Okay, so we've got one last challenge to do, and let's see if we can do this quickly and not go too far over time. Okay, so the last challenge is unminify over here. So the unminify challenge, let's provide the link to the challenge to everybody in chat. It's over here. And to the people who are doing YouTube, it is over here. And so this is the unminify challenge. So I don't like scrolling down to read code for my website, so I squished it. As a bonus, my pages load faster. Additional details will be available after launching your challenge website. Okay, so this is a web browser challenge, and normally it's quite an easy challenge. So if you were to try doing this challenge on your own without using Python to solve the challenge, you could probably do it very easily. But let's try to do it with Python. Okay. So over at our web shell, we're going to cd to our home directory. So it's just cd by itself. And then we're going to make the directory. I think I need to delete the directory. Oh, no. Okay. So we're going to make the directory unminify. And then we're going to enter the directory unminify. Okay. And then we're going to create a script. So to create the script, we're just going to call this unminify.py. And we're going to do nano in front of that because we're going to create this script. So nano unminify.py. Okay. And actually, just to save time, what we're going to do is we're going to copy the code that that I provided over at the GitHub over here. So once more, we're going to go over, take a look at the notes. And near the bottom, you should see this header, code for unminify challenge. So we're going to be using Python to download the web page and to save it to a file. So let's go over what exactly is in this code. So actually, it's easier if we take a look at it inside of Nano. So code for an minify challenge. Go over to this section and click on this button right here. And after you click on it, it should say copied. Then go over to your web shell. So inside of the Nano text editor, you can just paste this in. So it's going to be right-click, paste. And this is going to retrieve the script. So what this script does is that it accesses a web page and then it saves the web page contents to a file. Okay. So the first instruction here is import requests. So it's going to import this request module from Python, which lets us interact with web pages. So next we're going to set this URL variable, which is equal to input. And this is going to let us specify which web page we want to download and save. Which web page do you want to save to a file? The next variable is file name, and this is the name of the file that we're going to save. And that's going to be unminify.txt. And then next we have a function. So this function over here is called save_webpage, and it takes two parameters, the URL variable and the file name variable. And what we're going to try to do is we're going to create a variable called response. And the response is going to be equal to the request module, and the method is get URL. So inside of requests, this library, there's a get method which retrieves web pages. So we have to give it with the URL. And next we're going to this response variable, we're going to check if the web page request was successful with this method right here, raise for status. And then the next thing we do is we save a file. So in Python, we have to use this particular syntax to save a file with open file name, W for write, and then we have to specify what kind of text encoding we need to do. So as file, so we're going to set this variable to be called the file. We're going to file write. We're going to write. So this is another method from the request library, and we're going to set it to whatever response text we got. So, and then we're going to print something. We're going to print web page content saved to file name. If there's any if there are any errors, we're going to set this code to let us know that an error occurred, except request.exceptions.request exception as E, print an error occurred, and then the variable E over here. And the last thing we do is we do a call to this particular function, save_webpage, with the variables URL and the file name. Okay, so I know it seems a bit much compared to some of the other stuff that some of the other programs we've created. If you ever want to understand exactly what's going on inside of this code, you could try highlighting it and then feeding it to something like ChatGPT and ask ChatGPT please explain what's going on with this code. But let's just use this script over here to download the file. So we're going to save this out, Control X to save. Save modify buffer, yes. File to write this file right here, press enter. And then we're going to run it with Python. So run python unminify.py. So what it's going to do is it's going to ask you which web page you want to save to the file. So what we need to do is we need to go over to the challenge description, and we need to click on this button right here, launch instance. So each time we run this, it's going to give us a different web page. So what we need to do is we need to start the instance and then go over to this link right here, browse here, right click, select copy link address, and then go back to the web shell. And then we need to right click, paste. So that's going to paste the web page in there, and then press enter. So the script does its job. It says web page content saved to unminify.txt. So now we've got two files in here. We've got unminify.py and unminify.txt. So we're looking for the flag. We could try using the cat command, unminify.txt. But it's actually very hard to find the flag inside of here. Does anybody know what command we can do to try to grab the flag text out of this file? So user NC says it started with a G, but I can't remember. Okay, that's actually correct. So we can run the cat command. So it's cat unminify.txt, and then we can use the pipe character. So the pipe is the shifted backslash, and then we can use the grep command. So it's going to be grep. So unminify.txt, pipe, and then grep, and then the pattern we're looking for. And if you remember, all of the picoctf flags start with picoctf, and then this squiggly bracket right here. So we're looking for this pattern right here. So if we do that, we see that only one item matches inside of this output, and it's highlighted in red. So what we need to do is we need to highlight this. So up until the closing squiggly bracket, and then copy this. Okay. So I'm going to type out the command we did in the chat for everybody. So it's cat unminify.txt, and then pipe grep picoctf. So this is just an example of the command that we did. Okay, so after that's copied, you can go over to the challenge page, and then at the bottom there, whoops, that's not the flag. Let me grab this again. Okay, so this over here, right click, copy, and then over here, paste in the flag, click on submit flag, and then we're done. Okay, everybody, if you managed to finish that one, please type in the chat Python web page, smiley face. Okay, so everybody, so we're coming to the end of today's session. To everybody who's here, there are some users here who arrived late because school has started for them, and I'd like to ask everybody in the chat how many people here are interested in how many people here would be okay with starting the sessions an hour later than they do right now. So they currently start at 4 p.m. Eastern time, but would you be okay if they started at 5 p.m. Eastern time? If you're okay with it, type yay, and if you're not okay with it, type nay. So if you're okay with starting an hour later, type yay. If you're not okay with it, type nay. Okay. So the people here looks like everybody is okay starting an hour later. So so I'm going to ask the people who organize these sessions to see if they're okay with starting an hour later, starting next week, okay? So it's not for certain. Please wait for an email or something that says that it's okay that we're going to be starting an hour later. It's not completely decided yet. Okay. But before we wrap up, let's do a little summary of what we learned today. So over here, so Python is an object-oriented programming language, and as such, all data in Python code are considered objects. So all objects belong to a class, and an object's class indicates which built-in functions, methods, and variables it has. So next, we learned about dictionaries, and dictionaries in Python are similar to other container objects such as lists, except that the data stored in dictionaries are pairs of keys/values as opposed to individual items. Okay, user AD says they have to leave. We've come to the end of today's session. If you don't need any additional help, if you don't have any other questions, we're going to be back on Monday, and we might be starting an hour later than usual, but that's not guaranteed. Wait for the email that says one way or the other. Okay. All right. So if you don't need any additional help, if you don't have any additional questions, please feel free to leave. But we'll be back on Monday. Okay. If you need help with any of the concepts we were talking about today, please stick around. I'm going to be ending